Have you ever felt like you're always the strong one, the one who holds everyone together, but secretly feels like you're falling apart? If you've ever cried in silence, smiled through the pain, or wished someone would just ask how you're doing, this video is for you. One, the feeling you can't explain. You wake up, you get through the day, you meet people, you smile, and yet deep inside there's something missing. You have a decent life, you're not struggling the way others do. You've achieved things, you have people around. So why does it feel like something is off? It's not loud sadness, it's not dramatic pain. It's quiet, like a fog that never leaves. It's a weight you've carried for so long that it now feels normal. You scroll, you laugh, you talk, you even succeed. But there's a voice inside that says this isn't it. You go to sleep thinking maybe tomorrow will feel different, but it doesn't. This is emotional emptiness. Not many talk about it, but you're not the only one carrying it. Part 2. Where this emptiness comes from. You weren't born with this emptiness. Something happened slowly over time. You learned to be strong too early. Maybe you had to act okay when you weren't. Maybe no one asked how you really felt. Maybe every time you opened up it backfired. So you started hiding parts of yourself. You told yourself, I'm fine. I don't need anyone. I can handle this. And you did. But a part of you started going quiet. The part that used to feel joy, the part that felt seen, the part that was soft. Now even when good things happen, they don't reach you. You're there, but not fully. You laugh, but something is missing behind it. It's not your fault. You were never shown how to stay connected to yourself. You were taught how to survive, but no one showed you how to feel safe in being real. Part 3. When you learn to disconnect. Most people think emotional emptiness comes from big traumas, but often it comes from something quieter. You were expected to be okay when you weren't. You smiled when you were hurt. You were told to stop being sensitive, so you disconnected from yourself. You stopped trusting your own feelings. You learned to numb yourself, not because you're cold, but because feeling became too risky. Now you feel stuck between two worlds, the one where everything looks fine, and the one inside where everything feels off. You don't feel fully alive. You feel like you're just managing life, going through the motions, doing what's expected, but never what your heart truly wants. Part 4. The cost of carrying everything alone. You become the strong one, the one who's always holding it together, the one others go to for help. But when do you get to break? Who holds you when you're tired? You've learned to carry everyone. But somewhere in that journey, you stop being carried. This is why the emptiness feels so heavy. Because you're not just dealing with your own pain, you're carrying the weight of everyone else's too, and no one sees it. Because you make it look easy, but inside you're tired, not just physically, you're emotionally tired. You're tired of pretending, tired of being strong, tired of being okay. Part 5. What you truly need. You don't need more motivation. You don't need to stay positive. You don't need to fix yourself, because you are not broken. What you need is space. Safe space to breathe, to feel, to exist. Without performing, you need someone to ask how you really are and wait for the real answer. You need time to reconnect with your inner voice, the one you quieted for survival. You need rest, not just sleep, but deep rest. The kind that comes from being seen, heard, and understood. Part 6. When your past shapes your present. Sometimes we don't realize how deeply the past still lives inside us. A small moment from childhood can shape years of our adult life. Maybe someone made you feel like your emotions were too much, so now you hold them back. Maybe you were ignored when you needed comfort, so now you don't ask for help. Maybe you had to grow up too fast, so now you don't know how to rest without guilt. You learned to survive, but in the process, you forgot what it feels like to simply be. You weren't taught how to be emotionally safe. You were taught how to be useful, how to be strong, how to make others feel okay, but you were never taught how to feel okay yourself. Part 7. Why it feels like you're always missing something. You could be surrounded by love and still feel alone. Because the emptiness isn't about what's around you, it's about what's been disconnected within you. You try to fill it with success, with people, with constant movement, with perfection. But it never lasts, because the part of you that feels empty doesn't need more things. It needs truth. It needs connection. You might be giving the world your best, But when's the last time you gave yourself the same care? You're chasing healing in external places, when the truth is, what you truly need is to come home to yourself. Part 8. Learning to sit with your own heart. It's scary to be still, because stillness makes you feel everything. So you scroll, you work, you talk, you plan, because silence makes the emptiness louder. But stillness is not the enemy, it's the doorway back to yourself. You don't have to fix everything in one day, you just have to stop running from what you feel. You've spent so long managing life that you forgot how to feel it. But healing starts when you sit and let your heart speak, not to the world, but to you. Part 9. What you were missing all along. What if the thing you've been searching for isn't out there? What if it's been inside you all this time, waiting to be remembered? Not the strong version of you, not the one who keeps everything together, but the soft one, the real one, the one who still feels deeply, even if they never show it. You don't need to become someone else, you just need to come back to who you were, before the world told you to change, before you had to hide your heart, before you were afraid of being vulnerable. You don't need more strength, you need more permission to be human. Part 10. You are not alone in this. If you feel this, you're not the only one. There are millions of people walking around with the same quiet pain, wishing someone would understand, hoping someone would say, I get it. So here it is, you are not alone. Your feelings are real, your exhaustion is valid, your heart still matters. And no matter how long you've been carrying this weight, you are allowed to rest, you are allowed to feel, you are allowed to let go, because healing doesn't begin with fixing, it begins with honesty, and you're already there. Part 11. When being strong becomes a mask. You've worn the mask of strength for so long, people forget it's even a mask. They assume you're fine, because you're always smiling, always managing, always strong. But behind closed doors, there's a version of you that's breaking, that cries quietly at night, that wishes someone would just notice without being told. You don't want to be praised for being strong. You want to be allowed to not have to be. You want softness, safety, support, not applause for surviving what broke you. You've been admired for your endurance, but what you really need is to be loved for your truth. Part 12. The fear of being too much. You pull back, not because you don't care, but because you've been made to feel like caring too deeply is a flaw. You hesitate to express your needs because someone once told you you were needy. You silence your pain because someone made you feel dramatic, and now you second-guess every feeling. You shrink yourself just to fit into the spaces where others feel comfortable. But you are not too much, you are not too sensitive, you are not wrong for feeling things deeply. You're just someone who was never given the space to feel safely. Part 13. What happens when you ignore your own needs? You're good at showing up for others. You listen, you comfort, you guide. But when it comes to your own heart, you go silent. You've been taught that your value lies in being useful. So now you feel guilty for resting, for saying no, for needing time, for asking for support. You've learned to pour from an empty cup until there's nothing left for yourself. But here's the truth. You can't keep giving without receiving. You can't keep healing others while ignoring your own wounds. Eventually, even the strongest break, not because they're weak, but because they've carried too much for too long. Part 14. The quiet grief you never talk about. There's a kind of grief that doesn't come from loss, but from never being fully known, from the years you spent pretending, from the love you gave but never received, from the dreams you buried because life got too heavy. It's a grief that lives in your bones, soft, silent, constant. You mourn the version of you that never got to exist, the one who laughed freely, loved openly, felt deeply without fear. And though no one sees it, you carry that grief daily. But healing begins when you stop hiding it and start honoring it. Part 15. You deserve peace too. You've fought long enough. You've survived more than most people know. You've done the work, held the pain, carried the load. But now, it's time to rest, not because you're done, but because you've earned it. You deserve peace, not just in moments, but in your daily life. You deserve mornings where your heart feels light, conversations where you don't have to hide, relationships that don't require a performance. You deserve to be soft without being seen as weak, to be whole without having to fix anything. This is not the end of your journey, but maybe it's the beginning of being gentle with yourself. Part 16. The emotional burnout. No one talks about. You've been carrying the emotional weight for so long that exhaustion doesn't even feel unusual anymore. You're not just tired, you're soul tired, mentally stretched. Emotionally numb. You answer, I'm fine, without thinking. Because telling the truth would take too much energy. You care deeply, so you overthink everything, every word, every silence, every change in someone's tone. You love with intensity, but that love comes with a cost. You feel everything, even what isn't said, and sometimes the hardest part isn't what's happening, it's the fact that you feel alone in it. Part 17. When you're tired of being the anchor, everyone turns to you when things fall apart. You're the calm voice, the steady shoulder, the one who holds the room together. But who holds you? Who do you text when your mind is spiraling? Who sees you when your strength fades? You're the protector. But what about when you need protecting? You've taught others you're unshakable, so they never ask if you're shaking. But deep down, you just want someone to notice, to say. You don't have to hold it all together anymore, because even the strongest ones need to be held. Part 18. What it feels like to be emotionally starved. It's not always about trauma or big dramatic pain. Sometimes, it's about the quiet absence of connection. You crave someone who asks, "How are you really?" and waits for the real answer. You long for the kind of attention that feels nourishing, not performative, not transactional. You're not asking for much, just to be understood, to be met where you are, without judgment, without pressure. But when you've spent your whole life being the one who gives, it's easy to forget. You deserve to receive too. Part 19. The moment you start choosing yourself, there comes a quiet moment where you realize something needs to change. You've poured into people, into goals, into survival, but now it's time to pour into you, to say no, without guilt, to rest, without shame, to feel, without apologizing. This isn't selfish, it's sacred. Because the world doesn't need another exhausted person trying to be everything for everyone. It needs someone who's finally real with themselves, who chooses peace over performance, healing over hiding, self-worth over silence. Part 20. A message to the one who feels everything. You, the one who senses the room before words are spoken, who notices the shift in energy, who stays up late wondering if you said too much or not enough. You're not broken, you're not weak, you're not dramatic. You're human, with a heart that beats loudly, with emotions that run deep, with love that's pure. The world may not always understand your depth, but don't let that make you shallow. Your truth, your emotions are not the problem. This numb world just forgot how to feel, but you didn't. You remember, and that's your gift. Closing message. If you've made it this far, it means you felt some of this in your own heart. And I want you to know, your strength is real, but your softness is sacred. You don't have to carry everything alone. Healing starts with awareness and continues with connection. If this spoke to you even a little, I invite you to join this journey. Subscribe to Limitless Mind, and let's grow through what we go through together.